Hello, welcome to Somatic Self Healers. My name is Leah McQuaid. I'm excited you're here. We're going to talk today about meaning making and the stories that we tell ourselves and how we live those stories every day. So these stories can create survival in our lives. And this is what we work through in Somatic Self Healers is how do we come out of survival so that we can fully embody a life that we want. We can hold more joy, more peace, more presence, more freedom. So today we're going to talk about that meaning making and how we can uphold these negative beliefs, these beliefs of lack, unworthiness, wrongness. And I invite us today through our healing session to reorient these stories, reorient to more support, more love, more acknowledgement, more acceptance. And we're going to do a healing today around the loving presence within and orienting to the loving presence within. So how does it create survival? How do our stories create survival? And they create survival when we start to justify or defend these meanings. We can become addicted to the meanings that we make about ourselves and about our lives. And I've learned this from evolution and my teacher, Elisha Tischel. So just honoring, giving credit where credit is due. So I invite you now to pause if you need to. You can always pause the recording, but I want you now to think about a belief you have about yourself. Negative belief, something you're upholding. Right? We can begin to bring what sits in the subconscious, some of these subconscious beliefs, these subconscious stories, we can bring them up to the surface. And then when we bring them to the surface, we can start to work with them. And in this case, how we're going to work with them is starting to reorient to that loving presence within. So I want you to bring something to mind, maybe where you feel a lack of worthiness. Maybe there's a situation where you feel like you were wrong, you're not doing it right. Maybe there's feelings of shame. Whatever it is, maybe it's hard. Maybe there's something about what you want to change and it's hard for you. So how can we reorient these beliefs to start bringing in more of that loving presence within? We're going to work on that today. So I invite you now to bring that belief, that story into your awareness and invite it consciously to release and consciously start to bring in a loving presence within. And I'm just going to hold the 222 hertz fork in your field at your feet as we start to develop that loving presence, that self energy with a capital S, the consciousness that moves through you, spirit, divine light, whatever you want to call it. We're going to cultivate that more. So when you're in these moments of self-doubt, of judgment, of lack, of insecurity, you can remember that that's not all of you. That you have the self-energy, the loving presence, the universal life force, unconditional love that is also part of you. And you can learn to follow that reference, that guide, rather than the self-doubt, the judgment, the shame, the lack, the unworthiness. So get as specific as you want and inviting you to settle into the healing portion of our time together. And as you know by now, if you've been listening, taking some deep breaths, maybe moving your body, starting to release some activation so that you can drop into that parasympathetic. So moving the body, just taking about a minute. Breath movement sound, shaking it out. We're just making some sound. Maybe twisting right and left. Maybe some heel drops. And then when you're ready, settle in, start to down regulate. Noticing the breath, noticing the body, noticing what supports you. Coming out of the meaning making and beginning to listen to the sense making, how your sensations might be guiding you in this moment. So finding some sensations within that interoception. Maybe placing your hands somewhere on your body. And inviting in that loving presence, that universal love, spirit that runs through you as you. And I want you to pretend as if you were speaking to a child who came to you with insecurity or doubt or negative beliefs about themselves. What might you say to that little one inside? You would speak to that child with compassion and love. You would speak with that child with tenderness. So how exactly does the loving presence within you want to speak to you? To the little child within you? What words does it want to say to you? Oh, sweetheart, I see you. Oh, my love, I hear you. You're not alone. Just take a few minutes and just drop in to that loving presence, that spirit, that soul within you. What does it want to say to the part of you that's confused or lost? The part of you that's in survival? The part of you that's in a story? So reorient that story, that meaning you're making about the situation, making it mean something about your identity, who you are. And we're gonna Orient now to that loving presence. What does that loving presence want to say? Is there a sound that the loving presence wants to make? Can you make that sound now? And what else does the loving presence do? Does it look at you in a certain way? Does it have some protective energy surrounding you? Does it have a certain tone or touch? It's taking as much time as you need to explore and be creative with how this soul presence, this self energy, this loving presence wants to show up for you. What do you want from the loving presence within? To be nurtured, to help you soften and rest, maybe to help you speak up and set boundaries. How can this loving presence show up and support you and nurture you? Just explore, be curious, be creative. We'll just take a few moments just listening to the fork. Softening even more into this experience and believing that you have this soul presence, this loving presence, this universal light within you, supporting you, guiding you, loving you. Even when your mind and your thoughts and the meanings you make about yourself may not be supporting and loving all the time. That's okay. You can always come back to the part of you that is nurturing and supportive. Just stay with that part of you. Yeah, that's it. I'm hearing the words, you are awesome, you are loved, you are supported. And here's the thing, you always have been loved and supported by this guiding presence within. We just have to get out of our own way. Make some space from the identity we create around our stories and our beliefs. That's exactly what you're doing now. Stay with it. A few more moments here. Keep dropping in to what that loving presence wants to tell you. Wants to show you through imagery maybe, or a deep exhale sigh. Maybe the loving presence shows up as your belly starts to soften or your shoulders relax. The thoughts start to slow down. You can find some space in your experience of the story and of your sensations. Dropping into your breath, softening your body, and listening deeply. That's it. And encouraging you to maybe write down some of these prompts so you can come back to your loving presence again and again, especially when the story is running the show, when there's some self-doubt, some judgment, some unworthiness or lack. You can remember that that's just a part of who you are. It's not all of you. It's a part of your experience, but it's not your full identity. Because there's always the loving presence, the divine light, the soul running through you, guiding you, supporting you, and nurturing you. Beautiful. I feel like I could stay right here at your feet in your central channel, your field, forever with this fork. I love the 222 hertz fork. So we'll spend just another moment or two here. Clearing what might be stuck in your channel, and the central channel, that field also around your body. Anywhere that might be stuck. Anywhere the story is running the show. We're just gonna keep moving it up the channel. I wish I had the 144 hertz fork. Next time, forgot to bring all my forks in with me today. That's okay. Just keep working this. Yeah, and I breathe during the tuning. It helps me move the energy, and I invite you when I breathe. And that way I invite you to do the same. All right, my loves, 2 more strikes of the fork. So let it really ring through from your feet to the crown of your head and strengthening up that field around you. And putting in this field the loving presence. From the tips of your toes to the crown of your head and all around, both the front of your body, sides of your body, all around, filling up that loving presence in your entire field, your entire body. All right, my loves, I invite you to share if this was helpful in any way. I'd love to know how. How was it helpful? And more importantly, I'd love to know what your loving presence said, how it sounded. I'd love to know how your loving presence showed up for you. So share with us in the comments. Send me an email. I'd love to know, info@leahmcquaid.com. I'd love to know how your loving presence showed up for you today. All right, my loves, sending you so much love, many blessings, and I'll see you next time.